personal life, if it's marriage, business, children, how do you deal with it in regards to trust in God? And like, if you could share maybe your thought process, what goes on?
So, for me, I've never blamed bad stuff that's happened in my life on God. There are two types of bad things that have happened, right? Type one is stuff that I've done wrong and it's my own stupid fault. And type two is stuff that I can't control, is beyond anyone's control, like, my daughter having to have a surgery, right? Like that's stuff that I can't control. I don't blame God for that, because I think that there's a good book by Akiva Tatz called World Mask, and I think that his philosophy there is essentially correct, which is that nature was created with a certain amount of randomness and things happening that you don't like. Because if it didn't happen that way, there wouldn't be free will. And I think that what makes life worth living is the choices that you make. I think if we lived in a world where every time I did something good, I was rewarded, and every time I did something bad, I was punished, there really wouldn't be free will. At that point, I would just be a mouse in a Skinner machine. I would basically be being trained to pull the lever in order to get the cookie. That's not the way the world works. I think that God has allowed for a certain amount of cause and effect, that if you make responsible decisions, you will overall do better. But there's a certain amount of unpredictability to life, which is God hiding in the machine, right? That's God saying that you as an independent human being, you have to seek me out, but that also requires that you have faith that I am there even when it feels like you're being abandoned. So I've never really, maybe it's just the way I'm built, but I've never really seen suffering as God responding to me, or God cursing me, or God being angry with me, because I think that, first of all, I think it's halakhically forbidden. You're actually not allowed to say that if you see someone suffering, that person is doing so because they did something wrong, because now you're assuming something about the person that is not actually accurate. You don't know anything about that person. But beyond that, I think that it's a sad way of going through life to blame everything that happens on everything that. The people who tend to blame God for the bad stuff that happens in their life don't just tend to blame God for the things that are beyond their control. They tend to blame God for everything. They tend to blame God for they can't find a spouse. They tend to blame God for they can't succeed in business. And usually a lot more is in your control than you think it is. The amount of stuff that's really not in your control is pretty limited. And usually there are even decisions that you can make with regard to stuff that's not in your control that you could have made earlier that might have been able to foreclose certain things. Aside from cancer, I think that most things in life are you at least